Hi, this is a quick recording on how to create a 3-panel brochure from scratch in InDesign. So I'm going to start a new document right here. If it stops spinning, that would be great. There you go. New document, and I'm going to go with a standard letter size document, 11 by 8.5. Measurements are always given horizontal and vertical, so I'm going to go with a print. I'm going to go with a legal. It's in PyCast, unfortunately. By default, I go back to inches. I go orientation, so I go horizontal, 11 by 8.5. No facing pages, because I wanted to have just a two-page document anyway, so I want to have them stacked up on top of one another. I can go 2 pages already. I will not create any columns because I want to create my own margins. I want to create my own panels because again it's a 3-panel brochure, so one of them is going to be a little shorter. So if you divide an 11 inches into 3, half an inch margin is a lot of real estate, so we're going to reduce that to 1/4 of an inch. That's pretty safe. A bleed I'm going to use a bleed. So a bleed is basically an outside margin outside of your document to help you technically bleed an image or solid color past the edge of the paper. So I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to use a slug. A slug is an extra guide, again, either top, bottom, whatever, outside of the bleed as well. So I'm just going to put it at about half an inch from the top and half an inch from the bottom. If you hit preview right there, it spins right there. So there's my my margin right there, that pink line right there. My little blue line at the very top right there, that's my my slug, and then my little red line outside of my document, that's my bleed, right? And there's no columns, as you can see, right? It's just a single page. So I'm just going to create that, and now, as you can see, this is my slug right here, and all of that stuff, all the stuff that is in the gray area or the pasteboard, is the non-printing area. So this is what I'm interested in, is my page, basically. For this particular case, I'm not going to make a master page because there's no need because from first page to second page, the panel width will change. It's a 3-panel brochure, so meaning it's what's called a barrel fold. So one panel folds into the 2 others. So one of them has to be a little skinnier than the other. So to get started, to create guides in Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, same thing. You have to have your ruler showing at the top and the edges right there. It's under View. And then you go, hide ruler. Right now it's visible, and you can just click and drag straight from the ruler and then into your document. The difference between InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop is when you create a guide in Illustrator and Photoshop, they run across the whole document and pasteboard. In InDesign, you have the option of having your guide within your document, or if you click and drag outside on the outside of the edges right there, the gray area, then it runs past the edge of your document. That allows you to figure out where for example, your panel or your fold would be, and that would be your inner margin within that panel, right? So let's say this is my panel right here. Well, this is my limit for my panel, and this would be my inner margin within that. So we're going to create those a little better than that. Just click and drag like this is not exactly correct. So you can select them and hit delete. So to divide a page that is 11 inches wide, the quickest, easiest way, it's a bit of a hack. You create a rectangle, and then you put it like right at the edge like this, and go the whole width. And you can see in your measurements up here, it's 11 inches wide. It's at 0 on the x-axis, right on the edge right there. And all you have to do is, this is a calculator right there. You put your cursor right there, you put a slash right there. Basically, you go divide by 3, and then you hit enter, and that divides it into 3. So it scaled it from the left-hand side, because this is my reference point right here on the left-hand side, left margin, and then my size is like 3.667, sorry, which is not exactly a fraction of an inch. So what we're going to do is you use those little arrows up and down to change the width. One notch down, so it's 3.625, so it's 3.58. From here on, I press my pressing down my Option key to duplicate it, and then just, you know, snap it. As you can see, they're all 3 panels right here, but it's just not quite exactly the right width, right? This is the skinny panel. These are the same ones. So those need to be a little wider, right? So I'm just going to delete that one, and I'm going to expand that one just one notch, and it's 3.6875, which is 3 7/16, I think. And then you duplicate that one, and then now it snaps perfectly to your edge. So this is your skinny panel, and this would be your regular front and back. So now what you need to do is, now that you have your measurements, it's 3.625, you can just drag your guide again, snap it. So you either snap it to this, right, and then it's like it snaps to your shape right there, as I said, or you can just, you know, drag it up. If you're not exactly super dead on like this, like for example 3.6, and it's not exactly dead on, again, you select your guide right there, and this is your measurement right here, where your guide sits on the x-axis. So you hit one arrow right here, and it's 3.625 right there. So another trick as well, again, your little measurements in the upper left is your calculator. So you can just go, you know, drop that in anywhere kind of thing. You know that this one is 3.685, right? You select that, you copy this measurement, you select this one, and then you go this, copy, paste, paste your measurements that you copied from the size of your scale. You, again, with your calculator, you hit plus, and then you know that the first panel right here, this first panel is 3.625, so you go to 3.625. So those measurements are not exactly super easy to remember, but, and you hit enter, and then that's it. So as I said, your little measurements up here is your mini calculator, and then this is dead on right there, right? So now you can delete those. So this is your 3-panel brochure right here. So the skinny panel being the one that folds on the inside of your brochure. So the first page right here would be, this would be your front cover, your back cover, and then your fold panel, right? So what you want to do is you want to create a new layer, and then you want to call it, I call it slug, but you can call it guides, or you can call it structure, whatever you want to call it, right? And what I want to do is I want to put in my structure panel, in my structure layer, I'm sorry, in my slug up here, I want to put a little tick mark right there, basically where my fold will be. Again, so I just made a line right there, it's in the wrong spot, right? And you can see my measurement is off, so I go click again. I want to give it a stroke, and a skinny stroke, and I want to make it pink, and I want to make it a dotted line. Then I know that this is my fold right there, like so, right? So basically this is like a little bit of a dialogue space for the printer when you send something to press like this. So I duplicated that line right there, so I have both lines right here. These are my folds, right? I can again copy those, press and hold Option down, duplicate them. You know, I'm pressing and holding my space bar here to get the hand. I'm just going to move them down and then snap them into my slug right there. So at this point, all you have is this, right? You got those little tick marks, so you know how to build your document. Again, in my slug up here, this is going to be an off-limit area. I'm just going to go front cover. It's pretty slow today. I don't know what's going on. There you go. Select all. I'm going to make that into Helvetica because everybody has Helvetica, so it's a standard safe font. Center it, and I'm going to give it a color that is the same as the my little tick mark guide, right? So my front cover, I can go right click on it and then I go text frame options, and I can center the text within the text box. By default it's always at the top. See vertical justification right here, it's always at the top. I go center and it's centered right there. Again, press option key, duplicate that over, I call it back cover, and then I call it that one flap, right? So now I have my structure right here, right? I have an idea of what's what, basically. The flap cover, front cover, etc. You can put those at the top, you can put those at the bottom. I tend to put them at the bottom usually. I'm kind of messing things up, because when I export that file for print, I will have my color bar at the very top, and then they might collide and then they might hide it. So I keep them at the bottom. And what I do here, now that I have my guides, I can just, you know, also move those guides over. I go back to my layer. Right now it's in layer 1. Just by press and hold that little blue dot, because it's on the blue layer in the layer 1, I can just drag it over and then let go, and now it's in my structure. And now see that you can see the selection became red, right? And now I can lock that, right? And now I cannot select any of all those elements, right? So that's what layering does for you. It helps you build stuff and then lock things up and, you know, leave them in place. So I have this, so I'm just gonna, you know, duplicate that quickly. I'm gonna copy that, right? So this is what you can do. You can copy that, go to the next page right here, and you can go paste in place, and then they go exactly in the same position on the second page. Except this time I need to flip. The front cover is going to be on the left hand, the inside front cover will be on the left hand side, and the inside flap will be on the right hand side. So I'm just going to do that very quickly, just going to drag them over. It doesn't matter, they don't have to be dead on. So again, you have, this one is the flap, which is a skinny panel. The front and back cover are the same width, but here they need to change, right? Because, you know, remember the skinny panel is right here. So I have, remember the measurements right here, it was 3 points something something, so I'm just gonna drop it right here. You know, it's kind of random, and I'm just gonna go, okay, so 3.625 was my skinny panel right here, and those are a little wider, so I'm just gonna hit the notch one more time right there. And then I'm going to do this, I'm going to copy that, right? Copy this, I'm gonna drop another guide right here, go into my little calculator, paste my measurements, and go ×2, which is the little star in your keyboard, ×2, and then hit enter, and then that's it. This is your little calculator. So it's 7.375, so 7 3/8. And this little panel right here is my skinny one, and it's 3.625. As you can see, 3.625 right here. And those are my little wider ones, slightly wider. So it's perfect. We're dead on right here. So this is how you start basically your guides, right? You start, you know, creating your structure right here, right? Make sure that this is my structure layer. So now what you have here is you have your outer margin for the edge of your paper. And what you want to do is you want to create the margin within the panel as well, right? So you want to keep, let's say, your text away from the fold, for example. So again, same thing. You click and drag from your ruler right here, and then you just bring it, let's say, right here. Oops, switch tool by accident right there. And you can tell it's slightly off because it should be, you know, it should be 1/4 of an inch, right? So this is 1/4 of an inch right here. It's like, you know, 1/8 and 1/4. So here's 1/8 and then 1/4 again. So you can, you know, click and drag and you're not exactly sure. Same thing. Use the measurements right up here. Click down and it snaps to the fraction of an inch right there. And then this is your inner margin. And you do the same thing here for the next panel right here. So I can snap it right here because I'm almost dead on. Nope, one down. There you go. Now I have the same margin for the panel here, and I'm going to drag that over. Again, same thing. This one right here, it's a little too far down there. Yeah, it's just a fraction of an inch every time. So here they look like little squares right there, and that's your inner margin of that panel basically, right? So you have the outer margin of your document and then the margins of your document right there. And that really helps you to basically structure your document very quickly. So we do the same thing here quickly. Again, I use my measurements up here. This one is too far. Right there, right? They look like that square, right? Because this is 1/4 of an inch vertically right here. It should be 1/4 of an inch horizontally right there. And again, right here, I'm just going to do that quickly. Drop that one in. Drop that one there. And then I only use those notches. I don't try to, match it and measure it. Nope. I just don't guess. Just do it properly. And again, all that stuff is on that layer. You can turn it on and off. Now you can lock it, and it stays there. All that stuff stays there, and it stays on top, right? So now your layer 1 is ready for your design. So you go design. At this point, again, your front cover, back cover. Front cover, back cover. Oh, I forgot that. Oh, that should not be my front cover. That should be my inside front cover. And inside back cover. And right there, inside flap. So now I know where to put my design elements. So I can literally just drag and drop an image in there. I can find an image. Let's say for my front cover, I go Command D, which is how you place an image or linked image. Today is the day of the beach ball session. There it is. I'm just gonna go on my desktop. There's a lot of images in there. My wife is keeping a bunch of stuff, so I'm not sure. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, sure, that. Let's place that image in here. And again, so this is my full panel right here. So if I want to put an image right here, for example, snap it there. Again, I don't have to drop it in the right spot, because I can literally just, my measurements right here, for example, right here is from the reference point from the upper left corner of this. I want to stick it to the top right here. So I want to go, what my Y axis right there should be at 0.25 because that's my first margin, and then my X should be at 0.75625. Oh boy, that's a mouthful. And then here it's a little too wide, so again I'm going to change my width, and then my height does not really matter, so I want to say, yeah, something like this. I want to make it 4 1/4, just like that, and it takes the guesswork out of the picture. So this image will have that 1/4 of an inch all the way around, right, in my panel. If I want to put a color in the background, for example, like something like this, for example, right? Let's make it a different color. Let's make it a blue right now. That's absolutely awful. I'm gonna go and put it in the background, like so. So this, if I hide all my guides, if I hit the letter W, if you don't have anything selected, especially not a text box, hit the letter W, you can go preview and then normal mode. So here is basically my first panel right there. So I'm making a mistake on purpose right here. So I'm doing, okay, that looks great. I have my blue all the way to the edge. That's great, right? However, you need to extend that blue past the edge and onto your bleed mark right here, your bleed line. Right there, to the corner right here. And then same thing at the bottom down here. There you go. Now this is a print ready document, right? So your color extends past the edge of the paper. You have a little tick mark for the fold, so the printer knows where things are sitting. And then and you can do the same with an image. Right? Instead of having this image like this, you can literally just go bleed it off like that, right? Same thing, right? So and then do that instead like this up to the edge right here. So you can do that, for example, right? And then you have your front cover right here. This is an absolutely awful color. So I'm going to change my color quickly in the swatch. You just have to double click on your color right here. And then you can modify it like this right there, preview, and there you go. It's a little nicer. What you can do as well, you can customize swatches by using your eyedropper tool right here. Right, it has the option of just picking a single color or measuring tool, but there's also the color theme tool, which is a really cool option. Is you just click on that image or this or that, and then it picks all the colors from that particular photo. There's the green, my browns from the piece of furniture, etc. And then you can go add this theme to the swatches. And as soon as I click on that, they're right here and available for me. Right? I switch tools to get rid of that little dialog window. You can also have a colorful, a bright, a dark version. Right now those colors are pretty muted already, so it's not going to make a big of a difference. But you can pick your theme basically, and then there's your color theme right here. And then I can go, you know what, that green that I made right there, you know, that's going to match that color better. No, not really. Maybe I should pick a beige, and then that's nice and clean, right? And then I can just start designing stuff, right? You know, put my front cover information about the business, my contact information, the website, another picture. The flap right here, once you open the front cover, this is the first panel that you see, right? Because it'll be on the right hand side when you open it up. So this is a critical panel, and this panel faces the inside front cover, right? So you can have information that crosses over from this panel to this panel. That's an option. They can be a freestanding. Once you open that flap, you have your three panels right there, right across the board. So you can have, you know, like 2 pages of information. You know, you can have an intro, big photograph and an intro, text about the business, or maybe you want to have it on the flap. That's really up to you. Like how to organize your information, it's really up to you. What I've done here, for example, as a quick example, I've made that image. Let's see, I'm not going to make it that high. I'm going to make it 875 like this. I'm going to put that over here. So what I can do here is I can drag another guide right there, you know, and then I have it right up here, right at the edge of my my photograph, and that helps you structure things. Same thing here. I think you can copy that, and then you can just go in that next page again, and you can go paste in place. And there I have my guide again, repeated at the exact same location. Right? So when you copy that, you know, copy and then paste in place, switch page, paste in place, and then you have your structure of your document right here. Another trick as well to, I'm going to delete those guides. Another trick because those custom vertical guides are made, you know, to fit to your document. But what if you want to have, you know, the rule of thirds? You want to have 3 equally spaces, and, you know, from the top, for example, you know, like vertical spaces, like you know, divided in guides, or 6 or 12 or however many you need. You go under layout and you go create guides. And here I am not going to create columns because I already have my custom vertical guides, but I'm going to create some rows instead. So if I put my gutter to 0, a gutter is a space between them, and I'm going to start it from, let's say, the margin, right, from this edge instead of from the page edge. And I'm just going to go, you know, 2 of them right there. Ooh, hit preview right there. So there you go. There's my middle of my page vertically. There's my rule of thirds, divided into quarters. And you can go 6, right? So 6 allows you to have the rule of thirds. So you have 1/3, 2/3. You can also have the half. You can have 2/3, 1/3. You can do, you know, etc. Right? So I find the 6 or 12 a little bit more flexible, but 6 is good because it's a fairly small format. If I add a gutter, this is what it does, right? So you can have, you know, like a little bit of a gap between your design elements or whatnot. You don't need to have that. I'm gonna keep it. I like it to have a little bit of gaps in between stuff. So here again, there's my cover, you know, and then there's my middle is up here. So I'm just gonna go right up, move up here. And I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, right, just like that, and then put another picture in there somewhere, just for fun. Let's see. Sure. I'm gonna put that in there. And again, you snap all that stuff past the edge, right? Scale it up like this, and it's, you know, lined up to your guides. You know, the structure is there. I want to add some text to this file, to this shape. So I'm just going to go Type Tool and then click in there. Now my text is inside that box, and I go vintage shop, for example, right? I'm going to put that in the center, and again, right click on it, text frame options, center the text vertically right there. Again, there's my text. But what I want to do here is I want to add a little bit of an inset, because my text box right there, which is my color box, bleeds off, right? So I want to add a little bit of an inset. An inset is an inside margin within your text frame, basically. So I'm just gonna, you can see the little blue line right there. I'm gonna put like the 1.125, which is my bleed. And now it's perfectly centered within this panel, not within the shape. As I said, it bleeds off. So I just kind of, brought it back in just by adding a little bit of an inset on the right-hand side. And then from here, I change the font. Very limited amount of, there you go. For example, and I want to bring it right into my, just keep it simple, keep it in the margin. And I want to put that into, let's say, my color theme again, brown on brown, and then there you go. Oh, it's a little off, right? Because this type has a weird baseline. Baseline is where the text sits on the line right here, the bottom of the letters. It's called the baseline. So this one is a little off. So what I can do here to cheat it, or to fix it, come on, select all, there you go. Here's in my control bar right here, you have your baseline shift. Right? And if it was showing me my tooltip, that would be great. It's not showing me my tooltip. So this is what I'm going to do. See, where you can see the baseline of the right below the A right there, and then there's a little arrow that lifts it up. And this is exactly what it does. You just go until it's fairly centered right there. There you go. Vintage shop. There you go. First cover, right? Just for fun. I can make that a little bigger because this looks a little odd. Like so, and it snaps to all my guides, and from there I keep on building it. This is how you start a basic 3-panel brochure. Again, one skinny panel, is always facing the outside, so inside front cover, inside back cover, inside front cover and back cover. So that really is the basic of a 6-panel brochure, 11 by 8.5, and that particular size can be different. It can be an 11 by 17, it can be a 14 by 8.5, which is a legal size. That's just all up to you.